Welcome to Comfort Crime with Lindsay Sanchez, a cozy mystery podcast where no actual crimes have been committed. Today we'll continue Death at Dogwood Lake, a novella about Georgia Lennox, whose perfect first date turns into a perfect nightmare when she discovers a dead body. And instead of finding romance, she's pulled into a murder investigation where hometown secrets run deeper than the alpine lake where it all started. If this is your first time here, welcome, and please start with Episode 1, Chapter 1. There is a link to it in the show notes. For everyone else, we'll continue to Chapter 10. But first, an update. I have news. Death at Dogwood Lake is close to being finished, like a few short weeks close. We can practically taste the finish line, and I'm equal parts happy and sad because, finishing a good book is always bittersweet. But this time, it's a little more sweet than sour because I'm leaning hard towards rolling us right into the full novel about Jake and Georgia, all grown up, navigating a cozy mystery and a second chance love story. We already love these characters, so why not dive deeper and fall head over heels for them? That said, I do have a couple of other ideas brewing in the back of my mind. I'll be sharing more details about those and the options we have there in the newsletter soon, because I genuinely want to hear what you think. Your opinions always help me see things more clearly, and they make this writing journey so much more fun. I'm going to need to know if you're Team Jake and Georgia, or if you're curious about what else I might have up my sleeve. Last time, all Georgia wanted was a normal day with friends, maybe some cake, and if she was lucky, a birthday kiss. But when your sweet 16 comes with a side of murder, some birthday wishes are better left ungranted. So instead, she got a dead body and a front row seat to a murder investigation. Now grounded, her police officer father got kicked off the case because of her meddling, and the neighborhood is still full of suspects. So when she goes with her mom to deliver Rose a lasagna, the last thing she expects to find is the hat she's been looking for all along. Death at Dogwood Lake, Chapter 10. Georgia backed away from Eric. There was nowhere to go with him blocking the hall, but if she distracted him, she just might be able to squeeze past. "What are you doing here?" he repeated, taking a step forward and eyeing her suspiciously. "I saw a rat." Georgia leaned in, stepping toward him like she had nothing to hide, nothing to fear. She pointed through the cracked door into the bedroom beyond that was clearly his. As if on instinct, Eric looked through the doorway, only for a moment, but Georgia was ready. She ran past him before he could stop her and hurried down the stairs. In the basement, cartoons flashed on the screen, the low hum of quiet music and cheerful voices clashing with the picture of the three people huddled together on the couch opposite it. Tom's son, Ryder, was in Rose's lap, staring at the TV like he half knew what was going on and half didn't know where he was. Rose sobbed into Georgia's mom's shoulder. Shelley's arms wrapped around the other woman like she was the only thing keeping her together. Her mom was fine. Rose, though heartbroken, was also not in danger, and poor little Ryder didn't have a clue. Georgia looked behind her, but Eric hadn't followed. She didn't want to interrupt the comfort her mom was offering, but Georgia couldn't wait. Knowing what she did about Eric and the hat, knowing that her dad and the other officers had missed such a vital clue, and that she had inadvertently found it. Knowing she'd have to figure out a way to tell her dad without getting him into even more trouble, Georgia opened her mouth. Her mom shot her a look full of meaning and warning. Shelley wasn't ready to go, and Georgia would just have to wait until she was. "They're saying they're gonna take him," Rose managed between sobs. "He's been mine since he was a baby. They just can't." Shelley patted her shoulder. "It'll be all right, Rose," she whispered back. "We'll figure something out." Rose nodded, sniffed a few more times, and pulled away. "Thank you, Shelley, for coming. I know Tom wasn't an easy man, but—" "Don't even think of thanking me," Shelley said, giving Rose another squeeze before standing. "I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll figure this out together." Rose hugged little Ryder tighter and settled on the couch, looking sad but content for now. Georgia stayed in front of her mom as they walked back up the stairs, unsure what they would find with Eric. But he wasn't waiting for them at the top or around the corner by the front door. Finally, in the car, Georgia locked the doors and let out a sigh. Her mom eyed her but didn't ask. "Were they talking about Ryder?" Georgia said, once they'd gotten in the car and she could breathe easier. "His aunt," Shelley confirmed in 2 words. "What? This is the only home he's ever known." Shelley set her teeth and pressed her lips together in a tight line. "They haven't even had the funeral yet." Georgia waited for more, but when it was clear that was all her mom would say, she looked out the window, mentally searching for a way to break the news of the hat and where it was to her father. "Is it just because I'm his daughter?" Georgia blurted. "What?" Her mom shook her head. "What are you talking about? Dad, did he get kicked off because I'm his daughter?" "No, honey, it's not because you're his daughter." Her mom stopped. "You heard through the vents." She sighed, understanding hitting her. "It's not because you're his daughter, it's because he's your father." "That doesn't make any sense, Mom. That means the same thing." "No, it means that through you, he has access to information he has no business having. That's the problem. It's not that you're his daughter. It's that he shouldn't even know that contract exists, let alone that his daughter has a picture of it on her phone." "You know about the contract?" Shelley sighed again. "I also have access to your phone. A word of advice, don't take pictures of things you don't want your parents to know about." "Gee, thanks, Mom. Words to live by." "Honey, I know today was hard." "No, Mom, you don't know. You don't know. I'm pretty sure your first date ended in the best kiss of your life, not a trip to the morgue." "Now hang on." Shelley cut Georgia off. "First of all, your date didn't end in a trip to the morgue. I know today was traumatic, but we don't have to invent drama. And you'd better not let your father hear you talking about my first date in that way. You know how he feels about Jimmy Dean." Georgia crossed her arms. Jimmy Dean or not, Georgia's mom had certainly seen a lot of things in her life, but despite being 25 years older than Georgia, with both her parents still alive and not really liking open caskets, Shelley had never seen a dead body, let alone stumbled on one. "You don't understand," Georgia muttered, turning away. Her mom could go off about access and information, but the truth was, if Georgia wasn't the daughter of Officer Lennox, right now she'd be able to call the cops. She wouldn't have to worry about who might lose their job over what she'd seen. At home, Shelley kissed Georgia and went in the house without another word, giving her the space she needed to pull out her phone. Someone had to tell the cops about the hat, and it quite clearly couldn't be her. "Jake," she said when he picked up the phone, "can you come over? I found the hat." When Jake got there, he parked on the street and turned off his truck, sitting in the dark car like he didn't want to be there. Georgia walked slowly to the passenger side and got in, resisting the urge to look over her shoulder. Surely her parents were watching, but they wouldn't be able to hear the conversation from the truck, and Georgia seriously doubted their lip-reading skills had advanced since last year's Christmas charade party when they tried to cheat. "Hi." Georgia shut the door behind her and settled into the seat she'd been so happy to ride in just that morning. She told him everything, from the moment she arrived at Pineville Nursery to the moment she'd called him on the phone, finding flip-flops, having the cops called on her, and finally finding the hat. Jake stayed silent, letting her get it all out, not interrupting, though he probably wanted to. "I need you to tell my dad," Georgia finished with a deep breath. "Eric," Jake muttered under his breath, his hands tightening around the steering wheel. "We don't know anything yet. I just saw the hat. I'm pretty sure it's a clue, and we need to tell the cops." Sitting next to Jake in his truck, convincing him for the second time that day that they needed to call the cops was too close of a recreation of that morning, like déjà vu or a really bad dream. "Please," Georgia said, the weight of the day settling around her, her eyes, head, heck, her whole body heavy and aching. "Please," she said again, knowing exactly what she was asking. She wanted Jake to set aside, for a moment, his concern for his dad, so he could help protect hers. He didn't answer, his white knuckles making it clear that he wasn't going inside. If Georgia wanted him to talk to her dad, she would have to bring Officer Lennox to him. "I know this sucks," Georgia hedged. "I found a dead body. Your dad's in jail. My dad got fired, and look, I'm not comparing the two. Yours is worse, but they have to know about the hat. This helps both our families. Just stay here. I'll go get my dad." Georgia ran inside, but before she had even opened her front door, Jake's engine roared and his truck peeled away. She didn't have to guess where he was going. The one word he'd said since pulling up gave his thoughts away. Eric. He was going to confront him on his own, and it was all Georgia's fault. She ran inside and called for her dad. They had to stop Jake before he did something none of them could fix. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a mystery-loving friend, or consider leaving a review on your favorite podcast player. Most of all, thank you so much for being here today. I loved it, and I'm already excited for next week.